morning. Happy Wednesday, hump day, June 12th, day before my wife's birthday. That's exciting. Big news over here. We got a great show today. Lots of fun stuff. Very fun story. Much better than yesterday's idea that eating plant meats raises your risk of heart disease by 15%, which turned out to not really be true. But much more exciting, involving competitive eater Joey Chestnut. That's the last guy in the world you'd imagine to be vegan. We'll get into the news with him. The news that is all over the Google searches everywhere. It's the dominant story of the day. And I think it's good news, but it is not without controversy. Doug, how are you doing today?
Matt, I'm doing all right. It is Wednesday. It's Wednesday.
It is Wednesday.
Got in a gym session this morning and feeling pretty good. Had a big pasta dinner last night.
There you go. Another pasta with chicken special like the night Seitan.
No, different. I guess it was 2 nights in a row pasta. I didn't even think about it, but no, this was like chickpeas and a bunch of vegetables and stuff.
Okay, very good. We did the that kale Caesar salad that we really like from Vegan for Everybody, I think it's called.
Nice.
We just been using chickpeas, but the kids go for the vegan meat, the tofurkey meat stuff, and I take a few bites of that because I like that too. But mostly not interested in that stuff anymore. But we got a lot of fake meat news today. Doug, what do you eat after these workouts of yours, these epic workouts of yours? Are you doing a big post-workout nutrition session?
What I have been doing really for the first time in my entire life and on a consistent daily basis, but is a protein shake and with creatine in it. Complement creatine, complement chocolate protein usually for the flavor. And a little shake with a little bit of soy milk and water, kind of go half and half, and that's the soy milk is enough to make it good. And I enjoy that. And then today I had some avocado toast, which is a pretty standard breakfast for me on sourdough.
Very nice. Good.
You know what? So this is unrelated to food, but so yesterday I mowed the lawn, and the last couple of weeks my neighbor has upgraded her lawn mowing system. And so has been letting me use her old lawnmower, which is a ride-on mower that's an electric ride-on mower. Riding mower, ride-on. I don't even know what you call it.
I think it's both of those terms.
But I've never used a riding mower before in my whole life, and man, it's like super fun. And I also feel like such a dad. It has like a cup holder, and
you get a PBR cracked open for the lawnmower.
Yesterday I did. An actual PBR too. I was like, I can't. I got him for this exact occasion because I had been drinking water or something that just didn't quite feel right. I needed like a cheap watery beer, and it was perfect. It was so good. I will say it splashed around a little bit, but
right.
But man, it was, I don't know. That thing is super fun. And then so I've used it the last couple of weeks, and the girls are just fascinated by it. So once I'm done, I turn the blade off and drive them around a little bit. Have a good time.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, we had one of those when I was a kid, and I was charged with mowing the lawn most days and or most weekends, and did that. Yeah, it was okay. I never really liked it, but it wasn't so bad. Being on a riding mower definitely makes it easier. Now we just have a push mower.
It's about half as fast because we have a fairly large yard, and it takes me about an hour and a half to push it, and 45 minutes to ride it. Because I still have to get out the push mower a little bit to get some of the corners and some of the tough spots in between things. But it's very efficient, and it's electric, so it's pretty quiet.
Nice. That's really nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Good for you. All right. We have a question that came in from YouTube. I meant to get to this yesterday because I was excited. I like this kind of comment, and I wanted to encourage it by answering it right on this show. When I just went to look at it right now, I saw 2 other recent ones. Actually, first of all, Allie yesterday said enjoyed the show. I think she's been commenting fairly often. Yeah, she has. So thank you, Allie, first of all, for writing encouraging comments after each show like we asked for. Mr. Jeffrey commented and said on yesterday's show, said Matt's sleep saga never ceases to entertain. I actually, as I was saying that sleep saga yesterday, we were also having some audio issues and stuff, and then ended up having a bad mic issue the whole show. So I apologize for that. But as I was talking about the sleep yesterday, I was like, I'm boring myself talking about the sleep thing for so many times. It's never anything really new. It's just the same stuff of like relatively poor sleep, a couple hypotheses about why it might be. weak hypotheses. It's like, it's just the most boring thing in the world. So I can't believe Mr. Jeffrey's entertained by that. I'm glad, but I'm gonna hesitate before saying sleep things again because they're just boring. I don't know. There's nothing good about it.
At least it's not dream talk. Dream talk is the worst.
Dream talk is terrible. I hate dream talk. I hate listening to anyone, even my kids, tell me about their dreams. I don't want to hear about your dreams. It's boring.
Because it's
right.
made up.
This other one. What?
Because it's all made up. I mean, there's nothing like
it's made up and has zero like. I mean, even when it's illogical, if it was a real thing that happened and it was that illogical, then it might be kind of interesting. But
yeah, right.
It's just made up, so it's not even interesting that it's so.
I'm glad we agree on this because not everybody does. Some people like hearing about dreams.
I know some people. I guess that's like their hobbies, analyzing dreams. This other one from Faux Turkey. This is still not the one that I wanted to highlight. Said more meat industry tactics plant seeds of doubt. The average omnivore is afraid to go near a Beyond Burger because of the fear mongering. Yet they will eat fast food a couple times a month like it's not a big deal. And yeah, that is true. The media, not just the industry, it's also the media who I think, is entrenched in the viewpoint for a lot of reasons. They make it worse. And you're right. I think
yesterday's video. That was on yesterday's video.
Yeah, when we were talking about this media twisting the headline to making this thing about ultra processed food, making it primarily about plant-based meat, when it was in fact almost none about plant-based meat. But they're going to do that, and yeah, I think that's a good point. People are afraid of that stuff, like it's terrible. And I'm not saying it's good for you, but it's probably no worse for you than the fast food that people are relatively willing to eat. So anyway, here's the one that I wanted to answer the question from. This is from Anna. She said, I came to your page for running content. So that's surprising that, I guess we're still pulling in traffic for that. But I've been influenced to give plant-based diet a try. I've tested some vegan milks and find a good substitute for cow's milk and coffee. And Oatly Light is the one I think tastes the best. So that's kind of interesting. I forgot there was an Oatly Light product, but I'm not surprised. She said, I remember hearing some negative information about Oatly not being good for you, though. Do you guys know anything about this? I don't know anything about that. Do you, Doug? I think, we talked about the oat milk thing. The people talking about it's relatively high on the glycemic index, I think.
Right. Yep.
And, if it has added sugar, then yes, I think that is accurate. You're drinking sugar just like you would be in soda. Usually not as much in something like Oatly. But yeah, I mean, that's something to watch out for. But I think otherwise it's kind of overblown. I think it's not that big a deal. Anyway, comment goes on. Let's see. I have started reading the No Meat Athlete book to get some info for getting started with a plant-based diet. Would you recommend any other resources for getting started? Doug, any resources come to mind besides No Meat Athlete? Do you need anything besides the No Meat Athlete book if you want to be plant-based? Or is that pretty much the Bible of
maybe the Plant-Based Athlete book?
Plant-Based Athlete book. That is another very good one.
Mm-hmm.
And there are others.
You know what? I would get a couple. I would get a couple cookbooks, just to alleviate some of the stress around knowing what to eat. And I would recommend ones that are uncomplicated, which are not necessarily the most popular ones. But of course, as everybody knows, my favorite is the Issa Does It.
Yep.
For uncomplicated recipes.
Yep.
I don't know what else would you recommend, Matt?
I mean, I don't know. Carly's stuff is really good. Plant U's book,
Plant U, sure.
And her cooking content on Instagram. The Plant U book, the original Plant U book, just all you need really to get started as far as cooking easy meals. So that's a good one. And then as far as learning stuff, for me, I think Joel Furman, I really think his approach is sound and his advice is extreme, but you don't need to follow all of it. But to me, if you kind of want to figure out what the gold standard is for kind of what you should strive for, I think his stuff is very good and scientific and evidence-based. And of course, there's Dr. Greger. Speaking of evidence-based, his stuff is somewhat less restrictive. He seems to be a little bit more moderate in his approach, and his stuff very good in general. So he's got How Not to Die, and of course his channel, nutritionfacts.org, their YouTube videos every single day, all kinds of stuff. So there's that one. But here's the big question that I am more interested to answer. She said, from the small amount of research I've done.
Oh, hold on. Yes. Before we move on, one last thing. We would be failing as compliment employees and founders to not mention that, right? I mean, I don't think you need. I would not encourage anyone who's playing around with going plant-based to immediately go out and seek out supplements and feel like you have to have that in order to do it. But if you're going to do it, then I think that will help make you feel better, especially for the long term. So check out Compliment Essential.
Yes. And if you read those resources we talked about, they will certainly tell you about supplements, and you can use that to make your decision. You'll find that those recommendations aren't misaligned with complement. They're not exactly that, but very similar. Yeah, so that's a good point. All right, the question though that she said that I think is most interesting. She said, from the small amount of research I've done, I see there are some plant-based people who advocate for a sugar, oil, and salt-free diet. I feel like this seems a bit restrictive, but would be interested to hear your thoughts on having small amounts of oil and salt. So yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there, Anna, by saying it is restrictive. I think it is very restrictive. If it's fun for you or interesting to you as you dive into this thing to like go all the way and try that, because I've been there where it feels fun to push yourself further and like do something that feels a little bit not sustainable, but you like to experience it, then by all means try it. But to me, if you're just getting into being vegan, you don't need to give those things up at all. It's just going to make it very hard to make it last. So I would say wait a while before you give that stuff a try. The other big thing is I don't think that stuff is the healthiest way to be vegan. I mean, I guess you could argue that having less salt, less sugar are good. And that's pretty hard to argue with. You need some amount of salt, but it comes through your food, so you don't really need added salt. But the oil thing to me is very iffy. If you're careful about the oils you choose, specifically extra virgin olive oil, and you don't cook it, that to me is not unanimous, but I mean, it's pretty clear to me that that is a healthy thing. If you're going to start heating the oils and cooking food in them, I think it becomes more or less neutral. Not great, not terrible. So yeah, you can do okay. You can do well not having this thing. But to me, like you said, or like we said, it becomes too restrictive and difficult, and you might end up not doing the whole. You might give up on healthy eating entirely if you try that stuff and think that's what you have to do to be healthy. So I think that's not generally very good advice that you have to do that. Some people require that level of stringency to have success in weight loss or whatever. But I don't know. I don't think it's for most people. I don't think that's needed.
Yeah, not much more to add to that.
Plus, you couldn't eat corn chips then, right? I mean, that's
exactly. I mean, half my diet is salt, oil, and sugar. So,
right. And look at Doug. Look where he.
And look at me, peak fitness right here. Peak health.
Male fitness. Yeah, exactly. In all seriousness, you're doing 100-mile races. Not a lot of people are doing that, and you're doing it while eating salt, sugar, and fat sometimes. So there you go. All right. So anyway, thank you, Anna, for the question. Thank you for the nice words. Thanks for finding us. And keep tuning in. Keep asking questions. We're happy to answer them. They fill the intro time very nicely, which is good. I do have more intro stuff before we say hello to people. Robert Cheek got his book today in the mail.
Ooh, cool.
The Impactful Vegan: How You Can Save More Lives and Make the Biggest Difference for Animals and the Planet, by Robert Cheek, New York Times bestselling co-author of The Plant-Based Athlete. I'm the other co-author of that book, by the way, if you didn't know that. And Doug, more than that, the Plant-Based Morning Show is mentioned as a recommended resource at the end of this.
Hey, all right.
Including a Doug Hay by name shout out.
What?
The Plant-Based Morning Show with Matt Frazier and Doug Hay. There it is. Right in the
man, I gotta get this book. This is a must read.
It is, right? I see Justin David Carl, also known as Dragon, who we had on this very show. He's in here, mentioned there as well. And I haven't looked that deeply into it. I just got it this morning. So haven't looked more than that, but that's his book. It's about spreading the message. I think his approach is somewhat different than ours, but I do think he also, as much as he's going to tell people go all the way, I think he also has studied a lot about the best way to spread the message. Obviously, he wrote a whole book about it. And I think there is probably a large amount of overlap in the way he wants to do things and the way we want to do things.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can get Robert on. I can't imagine he would say no to coming on here once this book is out and he's touring and all that. He's been on a ton of podcasts recently, says Carmen. So I'll have to reach out and maybe we can get him. So come on one day.
Let's do it.
Yes. So there you go. There's that. Anything else, Doug? Oh, we didn't say hello to anybody yet. So hello to Britter's first comment in there today. Said, good morning, fam. Allie, who I mentioned, she's leaving all the nice YouTube comments. D1 to Know Adventure Coach, Matt O'Connor, Brandon Turner, Kate A.K. Rivercat, Dale Stevens, Brandon loves cutting grass. Enjoyed it growing up. Phyllis Hauser, Big Meaty X Claus, Amit Daswani, asking about Joey Chestnut. We'll get into that stuff in a bit, but welcome Amit or Amit. I don't know how you might pronounce it. Britters needs her sugar. The vegan oatmeal patty sandwich I had last night was legit. I don't what is that? What is an oatmeal patty? I don't know.
Oatmeal patty sandwich? Like you take oatmeal and you fry it up or something?
I don't know. Maybe.
Huh. I want to hear about that.
Didn't know that could be done. Speaking of which, at Virginia Beach, I mentioned those different food vendors and things. They had fried Oreos in one of them, and people were definitely interested in it. I think somebody tried it and hated it. It looked to me like it was funnel cake dough surrounding the Oreo, so I figured it would not be vegan, so we didn't eat it. But that seemed like up your alley, Doug. You seem like you might be into a fried.
I've had a couple.
Oh yeah? And is it any good? Is that what it is? Funnel cake dough around an Oreo?
These were homemade. Battered. I don't know. Some sort of homemade batter. I don't know. I went to a fry party for a couple years, but I lived in DC, where every year this guy would have a fry party, and he'd have like a savory fried bat and a sweet fry bat, and so you could bring anything you wanted basically, and people fried up all kinds of different meats and non-meats and Oreos and pickles and anything you wanted.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Sounds kind of fun. Mm-hmm. Sounds like you'd be really sick of fried food by the end of that thing.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. It's like it was like a salad buffet and then your fried food.
A fried Oreo, like, does anyone just fry? It seems to me like if you put a bunch of batter, like a funnel cake batter, around an Oreo, you're not really even frying the Oreo. Like, you're kind of just eating an Oreo that has been inserted.
Right. You're basically eating an Oreo inside a donut kind of thing. Yeah.
Right. So I'm more interested in what happens if you put the Oreo directly into the oil.
It would just melt.
Nothing would happen.
Yeah, nothing would happen.
Well, how about a really light batter then to make it?
It. I mean, you fry it for just a minute. It like crisps up. It has like a little bit of a like a donut outer, and then it's just kind of a little bit soft, and it's like slightly melted, slightly soft in the inside, but it keeps its form. At least that was my experience.
It doesn't sound very good to me. I mean, I think some fried things sound really good. That doesn't sound good at all. That just sounds like way too much sweet in your mouth at once. I mean, you probably agree. You're not a big sweet eater either.
Yeah, I mean, I it's not something I would like if I was walking the boardwalk in Virginia Beach, and even if it was vegan, I do not think I would buy it.
Wouldn't stop for that.
No.
KDC astutely points out Matt is judging already, and yes, I kind of was. But I tried to extend the olive branch, try to find common ground with Doug there. But Katie says, I've had a fried Oreo and fried Nutter Butter, both amaze.
The problem, Matt, is that a fry party is a really fun idea for a party. And so you're judging it, but it was also like a really fun way to drink beer. I
was judging the party. It does sound kind of fun. I was imagining every now and then I will deep fry things at home, like beignets. I found a plant-based beignet recipe, and it's excellent. But by the end of that, things like smell like oil. The oil starts to put off that kind of fishy smell from, I guess the omega-3s being rancid or whatever. And you just don't want to look at fried food or fried stuff after a little bit of frying stuff. So I can just imagine after a party and you're trying all these different things, you'd be really sick of it.
Yeah. I mean, I will say, like, also halfway through the party, people have just thrown so much stuff in there. Half of it works, it doesn't. That like the oil just becomes super gross. But it's still fun. It's still a good time.
Right. Yep. Okay. Good. Yeah. British mentions a Little Debbie. I know people fry those Twinkies and stuff like that. Yeah. Okay. Good. There we go. And also I didn't finish the list. Got sidetracked. Let's see. Dale Stevens is here. I saw a new name too. Carmen Scott Reuter. I think we've mentioned Scott Reuter before, but he says, well, I think that's it. I think I'm not missing anybody. So there we go. All right. Anything else, Doug? Should we jump into the big news? Like I said, we got some big stuff today.
Yeah, let's do it.
Not just the cheese article yesterday. That thing might even get pushed back. Carmen's leaving us already. Okay. She can't join live the rest of this week. They're doing her first ultramarathon this weekend, so she's nervous. Probably listen to morning show podcasts during the run.
Hey, enjoy. Yeah. Good luck. That's awesome.
Definitely. Good luck. I mean, as long as you go slowly, don't go too fast. It's kind of hard to me to make a big mistake, right? I mean, just eat the food you're supposed to eat. Don't go too fast. And then it kind of has to work, right? Unless there's an injury or something that you don't know about. But yeah, I think listening to this stuff, I like killing a little time by listening to stuff. So yeah, good idea. Be careful for falling branches if you're going to have earplugs in your ears.
Falling brain. Matt, you're such a non-outdoorsman.
All right. All right. Here we go. Let's get to the news of the day. We're starting right off with the big one. My sister-in-law, Colleen, sent me this early yesterday. I thought this would be a nice little item to include in the weather report. Then today, I started doing research on the show. All the whole Google filled up with this story. Joey Chestnut. He's known as the most famous name in competitive eating, having won the Nathan's, I don't know what it is. Their Coney Island, famous 4th of July hot dog eating contest. He's won that thing 10. He's won it 16 times. He owns the top 10 performances, including downing a record 76 hot dogs and buns in 2021. That's more than it puts your 3 impossible or beyond sausages to shame.
Absolutely.
That's like 25 times that much.
Mm-hmm.
He also ate 62 franks and buns to win last year's event, but he will be out of this year's competition, says the governing body, Major League Eating, the MLE. And why? It's because he's inked a deal to be a spokesperson for Impossible Foods, which, of course, as anyone listening to this show knows, launched plant-based hot dogs earlier this year, which we still haven't tried. I don't know anyone who's yet tried them, but I do think someone said they were snappy and good, or maybe that was the Oscar Mayer one. Actually, I think it was the Oscar Mayer one.
If they are not in hitting shelves this today, when all this news about the Impossible hot dog is happening, then they are missing out big time.
And if they are hitting shelves today, then conspiracy theory, this news has been known for a while, and it just happened to break yesterday, the day before they hit the shelves.
That's true.
George Shea, the event organizer for the MLE, says this would be like Michael Jordan saying to Nike, "I'm going to represent Adidas too." Does that seem like an apt comparison, Doug? Michael Jordan, Joey Chestnut, similar level?
I mean, Joey is the GOAT.
What?
Joey is the GOAT.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of dominance of your sport, he might even be more dominant than Michael Jordan. I don't think Michael Jordan won 10 things in a row ever.
No.
So there you go. All right, here's the quotes from people. The MLE says, "We are devastated to learn that Joey Chestnut has chosen to represent a rival brand that sells plant-based hot dogs rather than competing in the 2024 contest. They went into great lengths in recent months to accommodate Joey and his management team, agreeing to the appearance fee, allowing Joey to compete in a rival unbranded hot dog eating contest on Labor Day. They worked together for nearly 2 decades. But Joey and his managers have prioritized a new partnership with a different hot dog brand over our long-term relationship." So that's their side. Chestnut says on Twitter, he was gutted to learn from the media that after 19 years, he's banned from the Nathan's event. Loves competing, loves celebrating America with all the fans of this great country, etc. He says, "I don't have a contract with MLE or Nathan's. They're looking to change the rules from past years." So this is now a spat between the two entities. He goes on, tells his fans, rest assured, they'll see him eat again soon. Stay hungry.
All right.
But then listen, last thing, Impossible told ESPN they support Chestnut in any contest he chooses, and that meat eaters shouldn't have to be exclusive to just one wiener. So what I'm gathering here is that it really is the Nathan's event that is saying he can't do this. It's not Impossible saying he's not allowed. It's just Nathan's doesn't want anyone who's sponsored by a rival hot dog company to be in there, if you can even call them a rival, and I'm not sure you can. What were you going to say, Doug?
Well, as a fellow competitive eater who has placed in a competitive eating competition.
Do I know about this? Have you told me about this?
Which I just shared the story a couple weeks ago. The Phillips seafood crab cake.
That's right. Yeah.
Before I went vegetarian, before I went vegan. And who has had a spat with the people who ran that contest. Because
what was the spat? They didn't award the prize or something to the right people?
I never got the prize that I was supposed to win.
Okay. Right.
I can say that it's important for the competitive eaters to have proper management and to be able to stand up for themselves and lobby for themselves, because they can't just let these competitions control everything, right? So I'm on Joey Chestnut's side here.
Okay.
I mean, all right. So I think it's kind of a dumb controversy because one, it sounds like if he was in the competition, he's not lobbying that they switch to Impossible dogs or even that he eats Impossible dogs.
Right.
he would eat the Nathan's hot dogs. He just happens to also have a sponsorship with Impossible Foods, right? He's not vegan, from what I'm gathering. Like, to me, it just sounds kind of dumb. If he wants to enter a contest that Nathan sponsors, it makes sense that you would eat Nathan hot dogs, and then just move on, and then you turn around and then be the hot dog eating competition winner for 2024 and sponsored by Impossible Dogs.
Right? Yeah. I mean, I'm sure Impossible's upset about this. They probably were banking on him being at the Nathan's event and having a good showing, and then everyone says he's sponsored by Impossible Dogs. That would be great publicity for them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. And I mean, he claims there was no contract. So it's just weird to me that, like, are they basically saying no contestant at this event can be sponsored by a hot dog company that isn't Nathan's? It seems weird that they would allow people to do other events, even if I'm sure the other event isn't. That's not from Nathan's. This other thing he's doing. So it seems weird that they would get all upset just for being sponsored by this. So I don't fully get this. Maybe there's more to the story that we don't yet know. Hopefully they'll keep getting more follow-ups about this. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the other weird thing here is this. It's not like this is Oscar Mayer, right? It's Impossible Foods. And what is the market share of their hot dogs? How many people who are eating beef hot dogs or pork hot dogs or whatever they are going to see that he's sponsored by this and leave, real meat hot dogs and go start eating Impossible? I hope that happens, but so far that hasn't really worked that well for these plant-based meat companies. So, I mean, you're probably talking about 5% of people or less who are likely, going to even try Impossible as a result. So it seems to me odd that they think this is a rival company.
I mean, how many people truly choose Nathan hot dogs, period, but also because of the contest, right? Like it's just I don't know.
You're saying most people are brand agnostic when it comes to hot dogs. They just, if it's a shape like a hot dog, I'm going to eat it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no one knows what brand the hot dog is.
Right. So, I don't know. But as maybe the only... I have no idea. This might be a stretch, but Joey Chestnut has to be one of very few people who have made a career out of competitive eating. And to say that he can't be sponsored, it just seems totally bizarre to me, right? I mean, of course you want to be sponsored, right? Like you have this gift, this talent that you've worked on, and I mean, milk it, right? I mean, find whoever's going to pay the most and get that money.
I think they're going to give in. I think Nathan's will give in here because, like you said, he's. I mean, Kobayashi, is that a? I hope it's not a cook.
Yeah,
it's not chef.
I think he's the other guy that people.
He's the other. You can't lose a guy from your contest like this. He was one of the only known people in the world. So I just don't think they will. I think they will come back and say he's allowed in. That's my guess. By the way, this is all really good for the hot dog eating contest publicity because I would have never been able to tell you this was on 4th of July or that it was on Coney Island, that it was sponsored by Nathan's. I just knew there was a competitive eating circuit. Now I may actually, be alert to news on July 4th of who wins the contest.
So, all right, here's my problem with the controversy, though. Or my concern, I guess, is I watched Barstool did a little like Instagram reel about it, and they're talking about how great Joey is and how a big of a 4th of July tradition this is, and then they kind of turn on him a little bit maybe, and they're like, plant-based hot dogs for the 4th of July hot dog eating contest. What's more un-American than that? And so I mean, like that's the one problem is like I think people think he was trying to get the Impossible Dogs in there, which
right, yeah, of course they do.
I don't know. I don't know. I'd love to see an Impossible hot dog eating contest.
Yeah, that's what someone has suggested here in the comments. The other weird thing, let me find who said that. I think Scott Reuter suggested that Impossible should start their own vegan hot dog eating contest. I mean, what an opportunity right now. Impossible should step up, announce tomorrow that they're doing one of these contests. And they'll, then they'll invite all the omnivore people to come do it. Yeah, I mean, that they should. I'm also surprised we didn't know that this happened, right? Because this is kind of a wacky enough sponsorship that you would think this would have been on Vegconomist the very day it happened, and we would have been talking about it, but it didn't. So I don't know quite what Impossible is doing here. What if Oatly had been the one? What if there was an oatmeal contest or an oat milk drinking or a milk drinking contest, and Oatly, we found out Oatly had sponsored Joey for their thing? I think I would hate it. I think I'd be like, "Come, like, what are you doing, sponsoring the competitive either?" But somehow, since it's not them, I don't automatically hate it.
Yeah, I think you would have hated it. You would have hated it. But
yeah.
I just really want to. I really want to know where I can find these. I will go out of my way, whether it's Walmart or Whole Foods or whatever. I'll go out of my way to find these.
Yeah. Does going out of your way include going on the internet and Googling it and going to their website and seeing where you can buy it near you?
I'm literally doing that right now.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I was thinking maybe you wouldn't go that far to actually do that. But you probably can do that, and you'll probably find where you can get it.
Well, like I said, as a fellow competitive eater, my loyalty will always lie with Joey Chestnut.
What if Impossible can get you into this contest? What if Impossible won't do sponsorship, but they'll step up and they'll have you be their representative in this contest, Doug? If you can eat Impossible dogs, think you could do more than 3
in 10 minutes?
I don't know how long they have. Is that right?
It's 10 minutes. Yeah.
Think you could do more than 3 in 10 minutes?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I do.
I don't. I mean, the bun seems impossible to me.
Right.
I like to try to eat 10 buns in 10 minutes. 1 bun a minute. No way I can do that.
Well, they dip it in water, so it just kind of
right.
melts in your mouth.
It just slides down their throat, right?
Mm-hmm.
So gross.
So gross. The whole thing is so gross. And the thought of eating 72 of those in 10 minutes, I mean, it's like, oh my God. It's so gross.
God, how bad they must feel when they're done. They throw up after they're done, right? Or they can't throw up during the time, but after that's up, they can?
Good question. Not sure.
Probably. Wow, it was so gross. Even if it was 100% vegan stuff, that would just be a disgusting thing to do. All right. I think we've gotten all we can out of this one for now until there are updates, and I'm sure there will be. There probably will be tomorrow some sort of next development. So we will definitely be on top of that. In other vegan plant-based news for the day, lost my bearings here. Okay, we talked about corn a good bit recently. We always make the Jonathan Davis, Fred Durst, Limp Bizkit jokes, comparisons. In this case, they've added egg white to their sweet chili mini fillets. At least in the UK, this is a plant-based news story, so this is probably applying to UK stuff. But I think I've seen this sort of thing in the US as well. I've definitely seen it with Morningstar Farms. Never seen someone, or never at least known that a company has added it to a product. I kind of thought it was just a leftover, like this is the way we've done things forever. We don't know how to change the recipe. In this case, they've added 3 new mini filet flavors, tikka, fajita, and a roast, which all contain egg whites. There are no vegan versions of the product available. They have said before that they're doing this kind of stuff because they want to appeal to flexitarians as well as vegetarians and vegans. Seems like the worst reason in the world. I don't mind that they do this. It's fine. They might have their reasons, and maybe it's way cheaper to do this than to make a decent tasting thing that doesn't use egg whites. But this doesn't appeal to flexitarians. No one is saying I'm going to choose this product because at least it has a little bit of egg in there, egg white. Now I can eat this. I wasn't going to eat a vegan product, but I will eat this. I just don't believe that. That's just wrong. Yeah. They say egg is used as a binding ingredient. They use vegan binding agents like potato starch and tapioca starch in their vegan products, so they do know how to do it. They do say they use only free-range eggs, but plant-based news points out this is no guarantee of good animal welfare, and they cite a few recent things that would be
this is disappointing me. I hope it's not a trend. I mean, it has to be. I mean, I don't know. I mean, like potato starch isn't one of those controversial ingredients, right? Like if the binding agent was something that everyone was up in arms about on Instagram, like I could see it, but like I don't get it. I honestly, it doesn't make any sense. You feel you're alienating a large portion of the people who are probably buying your products, and it seems totally unnecessary.
Yeah, it just seems really strange. Like, I mean, corn. I just don't see that there can be many omnivores who are buying corn products. I would think a huge amount of their customers have to be vegetarians and vegans. Mm-hmm. This isn't like Impossible where they're aiming at the mass market. At least I don't think so. I mean, I think they've for years probably catered to that market. So I'm just surprised that they wouldn't go that extra length to make sure that those people can eat it still. I don't know. Like I said, maybe it's way more expensive somehow to do this without egg whites.
If it was, I mean, because we've talked a little bit about whether people are going to start adding like animal fat into vegan or vegetarian, otherwise vegan burgers. and things like that. And I mean, that makes sense to me in some ways because it would change the taste.
Yeah.
Right? I don't think that this is going to change the taste. So
no, I don't either. All right, so there's that one. Interesting news in the cultivated meat world. The U.S. Department of Defense, their Manufacturing Innovation Institute, Biomade, has released a call for proposals to develop sustainable food and material solutions through some project of theirs called the SLAM project. But basically, they are looking for people to submit sustainable food production ideas such as fermented proteins and cultivated meat. Sorry, I mean not ideas, proposals to actually produce this stuff. They're going to awards ranging between 500,000 and 2 million to academic institutions, small businesses, and nonprofit organizations. I guess you win a grant here to do the research, and then maybe they hope to eventually buy that stuff from you. I don't really know quite how those things work. It says here that sustainable food production focuses on developing a next generation military ration system using sustainable food tech, producing nutrient-dense military rations via fermentation processes, leveraging single carbon molecule feedstocks for efficient and sustainable food production, et cetera, et cetera. They're trying to make this stuff, I guess, for soldiers. Not entirely clear to me how this works, but I think I don't know at all. I think it's just they want to grow this meat to feed the soldiers. That's my sense.
Grow this meat to what?
To feed the soldiers.
Yeah.
I don't think this is a move that has to do with climate sustainability stuff. I think from what I can tell from the article, I think it's about feeding the soldiers, mainly because Ethan Lane of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association, he's the vice president of government affairs. He says that he doesn't like this. He says U.S. cattle producers raise the highest quality beef in the world with the lowest carbon footprint. Do you believe that, Doug?
Do not believe that.
And American troops deserve to be served that same wholesome natural meat and not ultra-processed, lab-grown protein that is cooked up in a chemical-filled bioreactor. This misguided research project is a giant slap in the face to everyone that has served our country. Our veterans and active duty troops deserve so much better than this. So that's why I think it's for feeding soldiers, unless Ethan Lane just misinterpreted this thing. But I don't know why they care about. I don't know why they're doing this. I don't really get it. Like, there's not that many soldiers. I know there's a bunch of them, but there's not so many that this seems like a major impact on the environment beyond what is already being done. Maybe it's a PR thing to try to be more sustainable. I don't know, but
I mean, it is a lot of soldiers, and they get served a lot of food.
Mm-hmm. So maybe they're trying to save money here. That like they can find a cheap way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's more to it than environmental impact. Like, I don't know how much the environment weighs into decisions in the U.S. military, but I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's more to it than that. Would be my guess. Yeah. You know what? I got sent something the other day. It was a video of someone who was cutting up Costco chicken, and it looked like it had kind of like layers to it or something. And the person in the video was saying, "This is cultivated meat. They're sneaking in cultivated meat. Chicken shouldn't look like this." And so the person who sent it to me said, "Do you think this is real?" And no, of course it's not real. But what was surprising to me was like I looked at all the comments on this video, and people were saying, "Oh yeah, the meat I got at Kroger was cultivated too," and all this stuff. Like there's, it's all they're trying to sneak it into us, trick us, and all this stuff. And I mean, just the disinformation about cultivated meat already, when no one has tried it yet, no one's getting it here in the United States, and at least in the grocery stores, is enormous. So they have such an uphill battle, I think.
Yeah, they sure do. I think something went viral a few months ago like that somebody was trying to put cultivated meat into the stuff. Oh yeah, I think it was Lidl or Aldi. There was a name of one of the brands similar to a name of one of the cultivated meat companies. It wasn't the same, but similar. And so people are afraid of that for sure. And I'm not saying they shouldn't be. I understand it's a brand new thing. It sounds scary. We don't have much information on it. So I guess easy to say that the government's doing it and they're trying to poison us or get us off the real stuff or whatever. Who knows? But yeah, it is interesting how strong and how politicized all that is already.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Dale says, aren't soldiers provided with MREs that are super processed anyway? What does that mean? Meal replacement
meal
ration.
ready to eat, meals ready to eat. I
Yes.
think.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe when they're in the field, but I think most soldiers are on a base, either here in the United States or Europe and elsewhere, and I think that they're served, in a dining hall like you'd expect.
Garuda's saying it won't be cultivated meat. It is meat mixed with plant proteins. That's why I avoid companies who sell any plant-based food. Both are unhealty. I think he doesn't mean any vegetables. He means any manufactured plant-based food. Processed, the fake stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I understand. I understand you want to stay.
There's no way that Costco is tricking you with their chicken.
I think he's talking about the military thing. I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
It's not Costco. Because the military thing, I don't think they specified it had to be cultivated meat. And if it is about cost, they're not going to save any money by having a cultivated meat solution in the next 10 years. So I don't think that's probably what it is. They did mention the precision fermentation thing. Maybe they're looking for ways to make food that is cheaper than regular meat. And that may mean plant-based meats produced cheaply, somehow mixed with regular meats. Who knows? You could see them doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So anyway, enough about that one for now. I got two more quick things here, and then we'll get to our main thing. Seed to Surf, a Canadian plant-based seafood company, has announced their expansion into more than 150 Whole Foods Market locations across North America starting this month. What they make is tinned plant-based fish. Doug, you've seemed a little bit excited about getting tinned. I don't know if tin means like canned tuna, like one of those little hockey puck cans.
Yeah.
Or if it's does tuna come in that or just cat food tuna? I don't know.
Yeah, tuna comes in that. Yeah.
The little half can things or whatever they are, tiny things. But fish also comes in rectangular, sometimes tins, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think this might be that. I think this might be one of those rectangular things with the peel off the top. Anyway, Whole Foods put this company in their trend report, so maybe they knew this was coming for 2024. Seed to Surf is a women-founded company. Two primary offerings: tinned snow crab, which is made from enoki mushrooms, and smoked white fish derived from celery root. Both mimic traditional seafood flavor, sustainability, plastic-free packaging. So I don't know. I mean, I guess the little bit of plant-based fish I've tried has not been all that good. It was the sushi stuff. The frozen fish fillet things I had from Whole Foods once tasted fine. It tasted like the Guardian chicken, so it wasn't that different. But I don't know. This doesn't seem very good to me. But I thought you'd be excited.
I am excited. I'm very excited. I really want plant-based tuna.
Well, Seed to Surf. That's your coming. No tuna, but you can get some smoked whitefish or something else.
Mm-hmm.
Snow crab. All right, and finally, Western Oregon University has announced they're committing to transitioning 50% of campus dining options to plant-based by 2027. They're already at 29% of meals served on the campus. I guess that shouldn't be that big a surprise in Oregon, but they're doing that already, and they're going to go further. 50% sounds pretty good. I'm sure somebody will protest.
Probably so. Yeah, that's great.
All right, there you go. We've talked about most of the comments, but Amit says it has nothing to do with the environment. This is back to the military thing. It's likely for budgetary reasons or accessibility in war areas. That's another thing. Accessibility, possibly some of the stuff they can even produce on the go. I wondered about that. When they set up shop somewhere, set up the tents or whatever they do, could they set up their little bioreactor and start cranking out, pulled pork sandwiches or something? It'd be pretty good. All right, and then some more discussion. Dale Stevens maybe Ritters, both seem to have some military experience based on their conversation. Okay, so to the article that we talked about yesterday from Washington Post. Well, we're almost out of time. Yeah, that's okay because this article is not that much to say about it. The headline is, "I swore off vegan cheese. Here's why I'm a convert now." It's from Michael Koren, the climate advice columnist. He went to the Future Food Tech Conference, which I think it's in Berkeley, California. No, it's not. I think it's in Boston. But anyway, he in the booth of Berkeley, California-based Climax Foods, he grabbed a slice of the cheese that they had out and then looked around for the plant-based version that he thought this would be compared to, and there was none because he had eaten the plant-based version from Climax Foods. It was so good, he thought it was the real thing.
Right.
And he's a foodie guy, I think. I can't really tell, but he liked it. And we talked about Climax. I think Climax is the one who won that competition and then got cheated out of the spot in the finals, right?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So their food, they don't do they don't do precision fermentation. They use AI, tons of computing power. Apparently, they throw at the problem, and that tells them what ingredients to do. And then they use traditional cheese making things. The microbes are still the ones that do the whatever happens with cheese. What would that be called? The culturing. That still happens. It's just that the AI is helping them choose what stuff to do. So AI is helping somebody somewhere do something right. It sounds like, which is good. But the other one, they also mentioned that there's a whole other side of it, and that's companies like New Culture who do precision dairy. In this case, they make casein, and we've talked about that. They talk about that here as if that is the protein that is essential to cheese, that makes everything work and taste like cheese and seem like cheese and melt like cheese. Matt Gibson, CEO of New Culture, says if you can produce casein without animals, you can make a cheese that is truly indistinguishable from conventional dairy cheese with none of the drawbacks. They don't mention whey, which maybe whey doesn't go into cheese. Is that possible that when it gets separated, they don't include the whey, they just do the other part? I don't really know.
What about lactose? What's lactose?
Yeah, so lactose is an enzyme, I think. It's not one of these proteins, but no, sorry, lactose is a sugar. It's not an enzyme. It's a sugar because and I actually wondered as I was reading the article, and then later someone did answer it in the article. With brewing, when you brew beer, like a milk stout, you put lactose in, and lactose is not fermentable. So the sweet taste makes it into the final beer product. Whereas all the other sugars, and most of the other sugars that are in the grain and stuff, that stuff ferments. So you get alcohol instead of sugar, plus carbonation from that. And so milk stouts are good because they have this extra sweetness to them. And it's a shame that we can't have those anymore. I don't know if there's any kind of plant-based substitute for lactose, a plant-based non-fermentable sugar, but it would be really nice if there were. Anyway, so that seems pretty important to cheese. And then so I said, well, can they make the cheese then aren't they missing some of this lactose sweetness or whatever? At the end, the woman I mentioned yesterday, her name is Silverton. She runs a restaurant called Mozza, Mozza. I think it's in LA. Yes, it is. Pizzeria Mozza. They make apparently really good pizza, Neapolitan style. They use fresh buffalo mozzarella, and that's their thing. That they are known for the goodness of the cheese, the actual real cheese mozzarella that they get. And she says that this stuff is indistinguishable from the real thing. She loves it. She's excited to put it into her restaurant. I don't know if it's currently there now, but she says the only difference between that and the real cheese, so I guess it's not indistinguishable. The only difference is the lack of lactose's mildly sweet taste. So you are missing that still. And apparently there's no good substitute for it yet because they probably would have done it by now. But anyway, the point is the cheese is getting really good. It still sucks, the stuff that we can get our hands on by and large, or at least that's affordable. But I think soon it's going to be really good. And that's the point of the article. That truly is my only point. I just wanted to make that point. Soon the cheese is going to be good. And everyone's going to...
You wanted to make that point because that was your prediction going into the year.
I know, but I'm also really happy about
cheese article, you're there.
What?
Any positive cheese article you want to make sure we dedicate time to?
Yes, because I want to say that my prediction is on track. And in this case, he said the blue cheese I tried from Climax Foods is served by Michelin star chefs at restaurants such as New York's 11 Madison Park. Which I don't know. I mean, blue cheese, if I could get my hands on good blue cheese again, it would be wonderful, right? So I want to be right about the prediction, but I really just want the cheese to be good because that's so many people said they won't go vegan because of the cheese. If it was the indistinguishable through precision fermentation, maybe molecularly equivalent, except for lactose, which we got to figure out how to deal with that. That's a lot of cows who no longer have to be dairy cows. And I'm not saying everyone needs to go that way. I get Garudas of the world. They want the real thing. But I don't know. It'd be pretty good to have real good cheese back.
I mean, I think people would probably come up with another excuse not to go vegan. But I mean, to me, this is the big missing link. And people will every time we talk about cheese, people come on and defend the cheese that's available now, and it serves a purpose. And I ordered pizza from a pizza restaurant this weekend and got the probably diet cheese on top of it, and it was totally fine. But there is nothing that you can put on a pizza right now that I have available to me easily that tastes as good as what I remember the real thing tasting like.
Yeah, you're right. Garuda says, "LOL, fake cheese on pizza. How to make pizza even more unhealthy and not taste as good." And that might be true. Like forever, that's been true for vegan cheese. But a lot of us choose not to eat. We choose to eat this junkier stuff that's a little bit less healthy, not as good, because we don't want to eat the animals, right? We don't agree with the suffering that goes on in the dairy industry, and that it's undeniable the suffering that happens there. So yeah, like that's right. It is probably a little less healthy, and it doesn't taste quite as good. But I think as we approach those, I think those things are both going to be better. I don't know about the health. Hopefully, the health improves. These are newfangled techniques, and I guess a lot of things are still unproven as to healthfulness. But if you can make this ethical choice while not having sacrifices in those other two departments, that's really, really good. By the way, I didn't mention the environment, and that stuff's important to some people too. Not so much me, but some people really care about that. So then at the end here, they say this person ends on a positive note, kind of the same one that we mentioned. They says, if they become both cheaper and indistinguishable in taste and texture from real cheese, a threshold experts say is fast approaching. That they must be talking about me and my prediction there. They could displace many of the roughly 270 million dairy cows in the world. Then vegan cheese may no longer be called vegan. It would just be cheese. So how do you like that, Doug?
I like it. I like it a lot.
I mean, it's possible we're going to get to that place where it's just cheese. And maybe the actual cheese that comes from animals will be called some special thing. Who knows what? It'll be a gourmet, product reserved for the Garudas of the world, the 1%.
Britter says, "Give me all the unhealthy pizza," and then she also says that the Miyoko's Mott's wheel is great for pizza. Just hand shred it, which I've never done that. I've done the liquid, haven't done the hand shredded.
Yeah, I don't know. Like that isn't it a ball of mozzarella? I don't remember. I thought you had a ball thing.
Yeah, it is ball. And I mean, look, there is, here we go, race lever, plenty of delicious vegan cheese. There's plenty of good. There is plenty of good artisan vegan cheese. It is not cheese though. I mean, it does not taste like cheese. There's great cheese spreads. There's great hard cheeses, hard vegan cheeses that taste really good. But to have something that I can put on a pizza does not currently exist that I have had personally.
Yeah, right. Like, and even if it's better, right? You could say some of these things with delicious vegan cheese that they are better than pizza ever was. And maybe that's true to some people, but I think a lot of people have a childhood memory of what pizza was, or not even childhood, young adulthood memory of what pizza tasted like. And all we want to do is recreate that, right? I'm not saying it's better or culinary, improvement. It just, you want that thing again that is burned into our memories. And until that comes along, I'm going to say the vegan cheese isn't as good.
Yeah. All right. Good.
All right.
It's exciting.
There we go. That's it. That was fun.
Joy Chestnut, Washington Post, covered it all today.
We did. This was a good show. It was a jam-packed show. We answered a question at the beginning. We held up Robert Cheek's book, The Impactful Vegan, and we're going to try to get Robert to come on. So there we go. Now I got to think of what face to do, what expression to make at the end, Doug, so I don't keep doing that same surprised expression.
Mm-hmm. Gotta eat some hot dogs.
I'm going to do like a... That's not going to work very well. All right, I'll just come up with something else. All right, the race lever saves the stuff to the end. These inflammatory remarks that then I have to respond to. You two clearly need to get out more. I ate plenty of a non-vegan pizza in my time. I know what they taste like, which is why I know there's plenty of delicious vegan pizzas that are just as good as the ones I used to have.
All right, enough's enough, race lever. Tell us what brand you do, and I will.
Yeah,
tell us what brand you think is the best vegan mozzarella for pizza, and I will tell you why it is not very good.
Or I'll go try it.
Go try it. There you go.
That's right. Get a nice frozen pizza or a recipe that makes pizza as good as actual, real, regular pizza. I'm not like I wish you were correct. I would love, as you know, for this cheese to be just as good, because for ethical reasons, I do not want to eat the cheese that's on pizza, the real cheese.
And I want to eat it. Not that I don't want to eat it. I want.
No, right. I'm not going to eat it. Right. Of course. So please let us know what this is, and we'll give it a try.
Yeah.
All right. That's all. We're done. Talk to you later. Tomorrow. Last show of the week, Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Except for Friday. That's a different category of show. Okay. Goodbye.